Welcome to Liability Insurance for Performers, hosted by Specialty Insurance Agency, or SIA. My name is Heather. I'm the president of SIA, and I earned my degree in political science, but I've never been a politician. Instead, before selling insurance to mimes and mermaids, I managed communications and the work study program at the largest youth circus in North America. I was also a soldier in the U.S. Army, and I've employed myself by making stuff up and writing it down. I've written for local campaigns and businesses, but novel length work is my sweet spot. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota with my family, which includes two circus kids, one which is insured by me, my tall, bald husband, five cats, and a clown dog.
My name is Libby Alm. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota with my two cats, and I'm the Communications and Marketing Manager for SIA. I'm also a licensed insurance agent. I grew up dancing, but quickly transitioned into the circus arts after seeing a local show in St. Paul. I was a circus performer for 13 years, training in various aerial acts, contortion, hand balancing, theater, and dance. In college, I participated in musicals as well as the annual dance concert, both as a dancer and a choreographer. After graduating college in 2017, I was offered a spot with Minnesota Dance Collaborative and performed with them for 3 years. Currently, I sing, play guitar, ukulele, and a little bit of piano, as well as I continue to choreograph as an alumnus at my alma mater. Being an artist has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, which makes SIA the perfect job for me.
My name is Kelsey McKenney, and I am the CSR and Marketing Assistant for SIA, and I've been with the company for almost 2 years. I live in St. Paul with my 6-year-old son and two cats. I love photography, drawing, painting, and coffee.
For those of you that don't know Specialty Insurance Agency, we're a family, woman, and veteran-owned company. My grandfather, Al Fellerman, founded the agency in 1992. He was an insurance agent and also a literal clown. And when he performed, he was starting to be asked for proof of commercial general liability coverage. Coverage for clowns wasn't widely available at the time, so he started up his own policy to cover not only himself, but also all of his clown friends. My mother, Stephanie Weiss, started working with my grandfather and expanded the types of performers covered under our policy. She continued after he retired, adding a new policy covering mobile vendors selling their wares at fairs, festivals, farmers markets, and the like. I began working alongside Steph in the SIA office in 2020, and my husband and our current vice president, Noah, has been working behind the scenes since the early 2000s, supporting SIA's technological needs. Most importantly, keeping our website running and always thinking of improvements that can be made so it's easy as possible for clients to navigate. In October 2021, Noah and I acquired the agency from my mom. We're both dedicated to continuing SIA's legacy of supporting independent artists and small business owners, as well as partnering with nonprofit organizations serving similar groups. At SIA, we pride ourselves on our customer service. When calling our office, you get to speak to our staff directly, and over half of our team are artists themselves. As a small family owned business, SIA was established on the values of service, community, and perseverance. We understand the dream of doing what you love, the fortitude it takes to pursue one's passion, and the struggles of being a little guy in a world of corporate monoliths. We carry that dream, that passion, and that tenacity into our business. If you want to know who the SIA clients are, think mimes and mermaids, fire performers and aerialists, or food trucks and farm stands, artisan crafters, and kettle corn booths.
Let's talk about liability insurance for performers. In the past few years, across the industry, we've experienced more and more events and venues cracking down on insurance requirements to help better protect themselves from certain liabilities. This is where a commercial general liability, or CGL policy, comes into play. The standard CGL policy helps protect you in situations where others may be injured because of you, from property damage that occurs from you being on a premises, or even offending someone attending your performance. This policy, however, does not cover you if you get injured during rehearsal or performance. That would be your personal health insurance. Our policy also does not cover bodily injury to a fellow performer who is insured under our policy, whether during practices or performances.
Understanding liability insurance can be confusing. What's covered? What's not? These are some common questions that we get when people call us on the phone. Here are some real life liability claim examples of things that were covered when things went awry. One of our mimes was performing to a group of people, and he indicated to one of the spectators that he was going to be jumping into that spectator's arms. The spectator appeared to consent, but in reality, he did not understand what the mime was miming. The spectator then suffered a back injury when the mime did indeed hop into the spectator's arms. This claim is an example of a freak accident. One of our jack of all trades performers was at a county fair. He had established a safe perimeter to display his tiny unicycle and pogo stick skills. However, while performing his pogo stick flips under the hot sun, the pogo stick slipped from his grip and hurtled through the air like the Starship Enterprise, and it beamed a spectator in the head, who was then taken away by ambulance. She was fine, but the medical bills had to be covered somehow, and that was by the performer's insurance.
Not only should you consider an insurance policy to protect yourself and meet the requirements for certain events and venues, but to also make yourself stand out as a dedicated professional in your field. Holding an insurance policy could mean you getting a booking over someone else. We attended a conference for the International Association of Fairs and Expos where we met various staff members from fairs and festivals across the country. In some of our discussions, we found that some fairs won't even consider booking an act if they don't have insurance at the time of their application.
For our performer policies, we have two groups. Group 1 is lower risk performers, and Group 2 is higher risk performers, as defined by our underwriters. The majority of our performers hold a policy with our Option 1 limits, as it's pretty much the industry standard, and that is $1 million per occurrence and $2 million for the general aggregate. General aggregate meaning the most you'd be paid out per policy period. Our Group 1 performers currently pay $284, and Group 2 pays $306. Policies can start on any day of your choice, as long as it's in the future, as backdating insurance is illegal. Whether you're in Group 1 or Group 2, both policies break down to less than $1 a day. We also offer single event coverage, which can cover you for one event up to 10 days for $140. You cannot, however, use the single event policy to work 2 gigs within a 10-day period. Individuals who purchase a single event policy can upgrade their single event to an annual policy by calling our office and paying the difference within 30 days of your policy start date. Sometimes clients like to take this route so they can break up the payment, while others take this route because they aren't sure when their next gig is going to be. Whatever the reason may be, the option is there. We also have a higher limit option, which is Option 2. This policy is $3 million per occurrence and $5 million for the general aggregate. We typically tell our clients that this coverage is not needed unless a specific event or venue is asking for it. You can always purchase Option 1 and upgrade to Option 2 in the future by calling our office and paying the difference. Group 1 performers currently pay $446, and Group 2 performers currently pay $476. We also have the single event policy for up to 10 days for $194. If you purchase an Option 2 single event policy, you can upgrade to the annual policy by paying the difference. However, you do need to stay at the Option 2 limits. While this is our current pricing, when you go to apply, you can check out our website for the updated pricing at that time.
In addition to commercial general liability policies, you can also add on the following coverages, like assistant coverage. Performers have the option to add on an assistant or assistants to their policy for an additional $95 a person. However, an assistant can't be another performer. They're more like somebody who can set stuff up, tear it down, manage a crowd, be in a fire safety, and other duties. An assistant isn't a named individual, so it doesn't have to be the same person from gig to gig. Another coverage is our inland marine coverage, which insures your business personal property, like costumes, equipment, speakers, lights, etc. This ensures against damage or theft of those items. We have two limit options for performers. During a Hurricane Ian, one of our mobile vendors who sells pottery lost their shop where they stored their art. He had inland marine coverage though, so we were able to cover the cost of his losses after he paid a $250 deductible. Another coverage we have for performers is sexual abuse and molestation coverage, which we refer to as SAM, because otherwise it's just a mouthful. Typically, we see that requested from those performing at schools or malls. It doesn't protect you against a claim that you abused somebody or molested someone, but rather if you're left in charge of a group of students and something happens between them. You could get sued if something were to happen and you were in charge. While we hope you're never in a situation where one of these instances occurs, these policies exist to help ease the burden should the need arise for you to make a claim.
Next, we'll cover additional insured certificates. You've booked the gig, you receive your contract, and you read that the event or venue where you'll be performing wants to be listed as additional insured on your policy, or they might ask to be added to your policy. No matter how they phrase it, they're asking the same thing. So what does this really mean? The place where you are performing wants to be protected in case something arises out of your performance while on their property. By adding an event or venue as additional insured to your policy, it protects them under your policy, allowing them to file a claim if sued due to something that arose from your actions. An additional insured can't, however, be another individual and must be an event or venue. For example, you were booked by the Florida State Fair to do a fire dance performance with your group. You set your props and your fire safety people are in place, but during the performance, you drop your fire fan. Your fire safety runs over and takes care of the situation, but they notice that there is some damage to the property. Afterwards, the state of Florida sues the fair for the property damage. The Florida State Fair will be able to file a claim under your insurance instead of their own in this instance, saving them a possible increase in their own insurance premiums due to claim activity. Often, a fair's own event insurance will require certificates of additional insured from any contractor they're hiring as a condition of their coverage as well. Some insurance companies may charge for certificates, but SIA's policies include unlimited free certificates of additional insured. Not all events and venues require a certificate of additional insured and may just ask to see your proof of insurance, so no need to submit a request unless the event or venue has asked for it.
As we've mentioned, fairs, events, and performance venues often require liability coverage, and that trend is only expected to continue. When you submit a certificate of additional insured, they can send the submitted certificates back to us to verify that you actually do have insurance. If it's found that you do not have insurance and you've submitted a doctored certificate, you could be charged with insurance fraud. Committing insurance fraud means not only will you not be able to obtain insurance in the future, but you could also run the risk of losing your career. No insurance means no bookings. We as an insurance agency are also obligated to report fraudulent documents to the insurance commissioner, which could result in penalties like fines, community service, or even jail time for you. If you have insurance, do not give out your proof of insurance to anyone other than directly to the event or venue at which you will be performing. PDFs can be edited, and you could be considered an accessory to insurance fraud if someone copies or modifies your certificate. A few years ago, on New Year's Eve, we had a group of almost 30 fire performers who were hired to perform at Area 15 in Las Vegas. I worked personally with the coordinator to keep track and make sure all of the performers had policies and had requested the correct certificates. A few days before the performance, the coordinator asked why I hadn't yet issued the certificate for one of the performers. I told the coordinator that the individual didn't have a policy and I couldn't do the certificate until there was an active one. The coordinator sent over the quote-unquote proof of insurance, and I could instantly tell that it was fake. The font was different, the policy number was not one of ours, and the date range was incorrect. The performer was then fired from the gig, as well as the company, just 2 days before New Year's Eve, and they were left with not being able to obtain insurance in the future.
And that concludes our first session about liability insurance. Thanks for sticking with us. I know an insurance class isn't the most riveting thing to listen to. Our contact information is on the screen for you, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our office and one of our team members will be happy to help you. Have a great day.